There will be physical response against the threat imposed by the United States militarily. It is no longer the 19th century, which is maintained the gunboat diplomacy at that time.
It is distressing when North Korea continues its threats and causes so much anxiety among its neighbors and the larger region. The United States stands in firm support of the defense of South Korea.
Well, just before this show started tonight, North Korea issued a statement through the Korean news agency threatening a sacred war with the U.S. This comes as military exercises have started off the Korean peninsula in direct response to the sinking of a South Korean warship in March that killed 46 sailors. Back then in that attack. North Korea denies any responsibility, but the U.S. and the international community lay the blame squarely on Pyongyang. Also, you may have seen this picture of Secretary Clinton and Secretary Gates in the demilitarized zone, the border between South Korea and North Korea. There you see a North Korean soldier looking through the window there. It's an ominous picture that was on the front page of a couple of newspapers here in the U.S. The bottom line, tensions are rising tonight. Let's bring in our panel. Bill Kristol, editor of the Weekly Standard. Juan Williams. There's Bill Kristol. And Juan Williams with National Public Radio. Syndicated columnist Charles Krauthammer. Bill, we'll start with you since we didn't see you there. What do you think?
It's good for my mysterious image.
Yeah,
they can't show me straight on camera. You know? What I think is that North Korea is a horrible regime that kills people and has gotten away with things in the past. I think Secretary Clinton and Secretary Gates have been strong, actually. This is a case where the Obama administration came into office disliking what the Bush administration had done vis-a-vis North Korea. They missed some opportunities, perhaps, to bring them into the international community, start announcing a new relationship with China, strategic reassurance. Deputy Secretary of State Jim Steinberg gave a big speech on this. They've been mugged by reality. The problem wasn't Bush. The problem was North Korea. And China has not been responsible. I mean, that's the big underlying story. China has not helped us make North Korea a somewhat more responsible state. And I think the Obama administration, to its credit, has recognized that. And now they sound like a very traditional American administration saying, you know, we're standing by our allies, we're standing by the South Koreans, we're standing by the Japanese. They're being dismissive, as they should be, of the North Korean threats. And I think this is the bigger underlying story. I think they're rethinking their attitude towards China, which they had hoped could really be a helpful international partner, and now they're treating with much more wariness.
Juan, many times we in the U.S. are dismissive of North Korea's threats as they talk out a lot. But General Clapper, Lieutenant General Clapper, who is nominated for National Intelligence Director, said in his testimony that this is a very dangerous time when it comes to the North, and the provocation with that warship, taking down the South Korean warship, indicates to him and to the intelligence community, he said, that this is extremely dangerous.
It is dangerous, and I think it's important. Hillary Clinton used the language, the word belligerent and isolated regime. So when you think about the belligerents, it also is that they lie, that they said they had nothing to do with the sinking of the warship, which is evident to everybody, even their putative supporters in China say, yeah, okay, we understand what happened here. So they think they can get away by lying to the world. This is a moment, though, I come back to something Bill said, that where China really has to step up to the plate. Now, this week at the Asian Security Conference that Secretary Clinton and Gates attended.
In Vietnam.
Right. They were very concerned about the idea that China continues to have disputes about a series of islands in the South China Sea with Vietnam. Of course, they have been encouraged by some of China's actions, especially with regard to Iraq. Not sufficiently that they would change anything greatly, but that they've started to cooperate in terms of foreign policy instead of acting like they have no responsibility in terms of global affairs. But when it comes to North Korea, here's the question. Are they going to stand with the United States in dealing with a problem that's right in their neighborhood, or are they going to say it's none of our business and then allow the United States and North Korea to become entangled? That's a problematic situation given the power that China has.
Charles.
I think we know the answer. The answer is that China is not going to act on our behalf. Pleased that the administration, as the former administration, after a while of trying, realizes that China has no interest in helping us or taming its allies in Pyongyang, It's a useful thorn in our side. They also don't want the consequences of what would happen to them if there were a collapse of the regime and a flood of refugees. So they have every interest in maintaining it as a problem. And so I think it's good that we realize the Chinese are not going to help us. It takes years for administrations to understand. And I think the administration's response has been exactly right. Speak softly, but carry a big stick. We have a carrier in the region now, 8,000 troops, F-22s in the air, which we haven't had before. The presence of the Secretary of State and Defense earlier in the week in Seoul, essentially warning the North Koreans that an attack is going to be an attack on the United States. This is dangerous because this is a regime capable, as it did 60 years ago in June, of a surprise attack. And the reason it's more dangerous today than normal is because it's enduring a succession crisis. The leader is dying.
Kim Jong-il.
And whenever you have a succession crisis in a very secretive, very isolated regime, you can get all kinds of actions which are highly irrational and which could result in war. I mean, it's not likely we're going to have a war, but the probability is not zero.
The intelligence community believes North Korea has at least one nuclear weapon. They have been testing missiles, long-range missiles, the Taepodong-2 missile. That is a three-stage missile that, if it worked, could reach the western part of the United States. It hasn't worked, as we have seen yet. But, Charles, how real is the threat of putting that all together to us?
Well, immediately and in the near term, I don't believe it's anything the North Koreans would contemplate using. No one has used a nuke in war since Hiroshima, and that was a different circumstance. It's not a usable weapon, but it is used as a deterrent. The threat of it is used to deter anyone else from, say, invading you with a conventional army. So I think that's why it helps the North Koreans. But I cannot imagine that would have a military use for a nuke. It's a crude weapon, hard to deliver. It's not going to reach us. It could only attack the South, and it would mean the utter devastation and destruction of the North, which is not in their interest. Again, they're irrational, but that is completely nuts.
And could we shoot it down, Bill, if they fired a missile this way?
No. I hope so, but probably not, and they also could proliferate, which is why they are a dangerous regime. Not just that they would attack us, but they're short of cash. There are regimes out there that might like some nuclear technology. They've proliferated in the past, so they're dangerous. I do want to say, though, about the Obama administration, after all that talk about soft power and a whole new attitude, this is gunboat diplomacy, as the North Korean diplomat said, and that's my favorite kind of diplomacy. And I give the Obama administration credit for understanding that good diplomacy is gunboat diplomacy.